The weather is about to get crazy. And I'm going to break it all down from severe weather earlier this week into a cold blast later this week and potential tropical trouble that I'm going to debunk. So let's get right into it. There is so much to talk about. Today is Sunday, the 23rd of November, 2025. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start out with our day one convective outlook, as we do have the return of some severe weather. Over here in western Texas, we have a slight risk of severe weather. This is driven by a 15% hail risk. We also do have a 2% tornado risk and a 5% wind risk. But on top of that, we have a large day 2 slight risk. This one is driven by a 5% tornado risk. This is in eastern Texas, northern Louisiana, and our 2% stretches all the way into western Alabama. We also have a 15% wind and hail risk to go along with it. So let's break this all down and what is going on with this. So here is one of our convective allowing models. This is our North American model. This is going to show what our radar could look like over the next day or two. And this is what it about looks like right now. We have some snow over here, potentially over here in New York. As we head into later today, this is going to expand, but we're going to focus down in here. So starting at about 1 to 3 p.m., we are going to have some storms bursting out over here in northern Texas, and we're going to have some other storms over here where our main risk is. And this is going to be minor at first, and then we're going to have even more significant waves of severe weather as we have more and more bands. And as we head into the early morning tomorrow morning, we're going to continue to see our severe weather expand into Arkansas and further east in Oklahoma and Texas. And this is eventually going to shift to the east, where we're going to have yet another line of storms burst out in East Texas. And this is going to be our main driver of the tornado risk tomorrow, as we may have some discrete supercells over here in East Texas and Louisiana. And beyond that, into Tuesday, the severe weather should die down. Now, here is our second model. This is one of the meteorologists' favorite models, and this is also the 12Z run, as the 18Z run at the time of recording isn't complete. But here's what it is showing. It is showing, again, convection over here, and this is where we're getting our real slight risk. These could be discrete hail systems and produce maybe a tornado or two, potentially. But this will become a line of storms as it does move to the east into Arkansas early in the morning tomorrow morning. So let's look at why these are severe. Here is what we're going to look at. Here's our shear. This is what is going to help our storms spin up a little bit, and heading into later today, into tomorrow, our shear is going to be prominent and definitely there, especially over in northern Arkansas. But the shear does actually stretch from West Virginia into Mexico. And here is what our surface-based cape, or our general energy that is going to fuel these storms. And we're going to have plenty, especially as we head into tomorrow. And it is going to allow for our severe weather to potentially get intense. Now, along with the severe threat, we also have a slight risk of some excessive rainfall. And this is a 2 out of 4, where we could definitely see some small areas get some extreme rain. This is mostly central Texas. But moving into day 2, this is going to shift to East Texas over into Tennessee. And the marginal risk is going to stretch even further to the north and east and to the south to the Gulf Coast. So definitely some heavy rain to watch out for in the south central U.S. over the next 2 days. Now, here's what our rainfall could look like across the U.S. over the next day and a half, actually 2 to 3 days actually. And we could see pockets of up to 4 to 5 inches in a couple areas, especially in Texas and Oklahoma, and eventually further to the east over here. But this model does not go far out enough to show that. Now, moving beyond this system, this is the trough that is producing this system, and this is going to continue to move to the east and deteriorate as we head into middle of the week. And things are going to get even more interesting as we head into Wednesday, as we have a upper level system that is going to bring tons of cool air into Thursday and Friday, where it is going to intensify the most, especially over here in the Midwest and Northeast. But this area could stretch into the southeast. Probably not as far south as Florida, but it will go south to some areas in the southeast. Now we're gonna keep warm over here in the west for a while until we have a pattern flip, which is gonna allow for cooler air in the west and our warmer air in the east. And we're watching for a significant storm as we head into the week after Thanksgiving. So late November, early December is what we're gonna watch for that. Now, looking further out beyond this system, we're going to see maybe some other storms, but as we head after Tuesday, we're going to really not have to watch severe weather, and we're going to shift our eyes to this winter storm that is going to produce some snow, which is already producing snow over here in the northwest, and is going to continue to move to the east, bring some snow to the Dakotas, Minnesota, and some rain on the southern end. We could see over here in Wisconsin some rain prior, and then heavy snow in the northern portion, potentially. And this system is going to bring all of our cool air in. It's somewhat like a clipper-like system. Not Alberta, but it is somewhat like a clipper from the west. And with all this cool air, we're going to see a lot of lake effect snow is going to be very prominent, especially in the northern lakes. Not as much further to the south, except for Lakes Erie and Ontario. Otherwise, southern Lake Michigan is not going to have to worry as much about this. We're going to watch over here in Superior, Huron, and northern Lake Michigan as well. Now, here's where things get actually very, very interesting. As we head into late this week, we're going to see potentially on Saturday the 29th, we're going to potentially see a weather system here. And what this is showing is a pretty good, decent amount of snow over here for the Great Lakes region and then disperses. But on the southern side, it is showing severe weather. And look at this. We got another system heading into early week and even more severe weather. And yet again, a third round of systems. And it just looks like severe weather is going to happen the whole time. And multiple shots of snow potentially. But it is not just the GFS. If this were to happen, it would bring even more cool air to the south. But it seems like, according to the GFS again, it is not going to last long. Now, after that, it is showing some tropical system breaking up over here. I wouldn't trust this, and I'll break it down why in a second. But looking further out, it does seem like it will get quieter as we head into middle of December. Now, here's our second model that we are watching. Again, here's our severe weather producer going today through Tuesday, and this is going to then be followed directly by our system up here. Here's what is very interesting. Just like the GFS, we're seeing a shot of snow to the Great Lakes region, just not as widespread. And then we're seeing severe weather rise up, even more chances of snow, multiple times, until one last severe weather system comes through and blasts it all. This actually reminds me, the severe weather likeness of this actually reminds me a lot of what the early April system looked like this spring, which actually brought a whole week of severe weather with a high risk and 2 moderate risks in that week itself. But again, I'm not seeing much after this potential system. Now, here's our total snow through the cold snap Ignore this over in Iowa. This could very well change. But we could see areas over here in the north, maybe even up here into Canada, getting 1.5 feet of snow. And over here off of Superior getting even more snow, potentially over 2 feet. And it is showing potentially over a foot in some of these areas. But mostly with our lake effect snow, we're not going to see much more than 10 inches or so. And going beyond this, if this training pattern of snow were to happen, it could produce a lot of snow over the next little bit. In fact, over a foot in a widespread area. But it is still way too far out to know the details, and the GFS has been shifting to the south and east. Moving on, our temperature anomalies. Currently, we're well above average in the northern plains, slightly below average in the desert southwest, and generally above average in the southeast and Great Lakes area, Midwest, and we are slightly below average in the northeast. Again, this is going to stay near average in the northeast, which I find interesting as we've had a lot of below average cold shots over here in the northeast, whereas the rest of us have stayed quite warm. But again, as we head into middle of next week, we're watching our cool air come in and protrude as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Friday is going to be peak with this one, and we could potentially have some warmer air move in as we head into the weekend before potentially another cold snap comes in behind it. Here's what our European model is saying. We're also watching this cool air come in right behind. And again, warm air could actually happen beyond this. And again, it is showing a pretty serious cold snap coming in behind it. Now, a quick brief update on the tropics. We've been inactive since Hurricane Melissa over here in Jamaica, which is good news. And the GFS is wanting to spin something up here in the Southern Caribbean, which I think is generally impossible, especially for it to take a path like this. Here's actually what it showed earlier. Showed potential major hurricane? No, it's not going to happen. In fact, our most reliable model of the year isn't hardly seeing anything form until we could see maybe something out here. But again, this is only 4 out of 50 of the ensembles. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Stay safe this week. I'm going to continue updating almost every day, and I'll see you very, very soon.